Okay, what is it? April 17th, 2016. I'm in Uncle John's chair. Before I upload those potato things there, I just want to say, this trolling and attack on my persons, right, and attack on my family, people telling me that they hope that I lose Andre, and that, just all kinds of crazy shit, that I need to get kicked out. Apparently calling my landlord now. Whatever, right? None of that happened until John left. But, you have to ask yourself, who would want that? Who would want for me not to be able to feed my family? In terms of having the greenhouse, the gardens, the raspberry bush that I've nurtured for the last several years. Just the whole 9 yards. Who would be so adamant, right, to have my life go down the tubes so that I can't feed my kids, fresh food in the garden, right? I lose my grandson because they're trying to make it so that I lose my house. Because once I'm out of the house, I'm telling you people, the rent is going up. Okay? So I'm really wondering if this all has to do with the Duncan clan. Seriously, because this didn't happen until John disappeared. And because I'm on a fixed income, right? And I was misled to believe something else. It makes me really question if somewhere through my landlord's friends, because I would hate to say it's my landlords that are doing this, or their family members doing this. Duncan clan, yes, that's a given, okay? Because they were all paranoid when the kids showed up at the hospital. Oh, you better not be taping this. No, you were just spying on the kids and myself and Andre when we were visiting Uncle John at the temporary care ward. It's okay for you to spy on us, tell lies, and scoop up on John and steal his money and dope him up and make it so he can't get up and move around and be free so that you can control his assets, right? But it's not okay for me to do videos. And if I'm going to do videos, you think you have the right to come in and make it so that I lose my house. Because if I lose my house, then that means it's going to take that much longer for me to take this to court with Uncle John. So these people really want me to lose the house because then I go, like I said, my life goes into chaos. But why is my landlady jumping on that bandwagon? Outside of more money, right? Because I haven't done anything to destroy her property. I've improved her property. Her daughter has talked to the neighbors asking about what I'm like, and they're saying she's outside all the time. Sometimes she's out there for 12 hours. There's no denying that, people. And they still want to kick me out. Because apparently my daughter called her a cheap person. She said Hindu, which is a religion. But those are people that come from India. And she called her cheap. She didn't call her anything else other than cheap. Because it takes a while to get things fixed. Some things just never get fixed. But that doesn't warrant getting evicted. Like now. And now I find out on the 17th of April that I probably can't even use Landlords and Tenancy Act branch to prevent them from hiring a sheriff for $1,000, which when you're selling houses for $700,000 and you're working for realtor companies, $1,000 is like 5 cents to 5 cents to them. To me, it's like $5,000. It's nothing to them. $1,000. Just go hire a sheriff, put a fucking lock on my door, and lock me out of the house. So I was told I should start putting together a bug out bag. In the event that I get locked out of my house because I didn't go to the Landlords and Tenancy Act branch within a 10-day period to put an application in to dispute their eviction notice. Because you have to remember, Suit didn't show up until the 11th. I was still in the fucking yard. I wasn't thinking about no eviction notice. This is the second time the City of Surrey has gotten me evicted from a fucking house, man. First it was that grow-up that they covered up, and now they're covering up their corrupt property sales. Because really, who wants me to lose my grandson other than the Duncan clan and maybe my landlords now, because they want to oust me out of the house so they can make 1950 off of this house. And quite possibly bring in a handyman that can do the repairs that I couldn't do. Who else? Some lunatic sitting up in fucking the United States of America that's got nothing to do in a day other than call up fucking Canada and say, kick the bitch out? I don't think so. And if it is, it has something to do with the Duncan clan. I can guarantee you that one. Driving to California in the car that John bought his wife. Because they don't want it to go to court. Because then they would have to explain themselves. So now I'm thinking about a bug-out bag. What do I put in a fucking bug-out bag with no car on the road? I gotta go find the tent. Put some canned salmon in a freaking backpack or something. Like, if that isn't psychological warfare, I don't know what is. All for money, people. All for money. This is all happening because of money. Take away the money and it wouldn't happen. Greed. Greed from the Dunk clan. Greed from my landlords. And power tripping. Like my lawyer said when they took John, because his sister nurse is a reputable, immunization program manager that's been a nurse for fucking 45 years. So she's got a good freaking wage, and she's got a good fucking pension plan, but she needed more money. She needed to take control of John's money, probably the money that John left her from her life insurance policy, which is probably $1 million fucking dollars. And then it was the power tripping. Was just power tripping. That's what the lawyer said. She's just power tripping. Because there are no checks and balances. Just like with the BC Liberal government. Oh yeah, everybody wants to live in BC. Beautiful British Columbia. The best place to live on the planet. Come and bring your dirty money. Come and bring your laundered money. Come and bring your blood money. Come and bring your under the table, underground syndicate fucking organ donor. But it's not organ donor. They just take the organs and kill off the person that they took it from and go sell it on the black market. Bring that money over to Canada and buy up the houses so that when we get up into the legislative house assemblies, we can brag on about how we're fucking booming! Booming with the housing market! I am the first wave of new refugees being born that was born into this country. I'm telling you, once I get fucking downtown, I am locating the Canadian consulate and I am putting an application in to become a refugee in my own country. Okay, people. This is April 14th, 2016. I'm in my little potato coal shed that I made with my son and Miroslav. Miroslav is the one that put the walls up. He did a really good job, right? My son was the one who put the door on, and we cemented in some bricks, right, to make it so that it's cold, and it keeps the potatoes very well. These are potatoes that I bought in the store. You can see that they've been sprayed with that no spud stuff because there's not a single root on any of them. As for all these other potatoes that have roots on them, people, those are mine from the garden. Okay? You can see there's lots of them. So, Waste not, want not. There's a whole bunch more. So I'm going to be on the side of the house, starting to work on clearing out some of the stuff in there and get into the back, up where my car is, see if I can spark her up again today. And I'm just going to throw some potatoes in the ground, right? This is where you don't want to waste it. Hold on. Okay, so now I'm on the side of the house here.
Okay, come on.
So I'm going to work on this stuff in here.
Okay.
Just compact it. Put what I don't want over there. Right.
And that's Aiden.
Yeah, that's Aiden. And
Aiden,
I'm going to plant potatoes in here. So I'm going to try and move this,
okay.
which is a lot of work.
You want to come over here?
So there's an old tarp. So I'll probably put the tarp somewhere in here and then shake those out, throw them in there, wrap them up, cover them up and try and start smothering them so we can just make another potato patch in here, right? I don't know what's in here. Do you see how fast it happens? Doesn't take very long for this stuff to get really grody, man. Like seriously, like what is in there to do that? So now I'm gonna start picking through this. I don't know about washing things today, right? Everything always needs to be washed, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, and we'll try and spark up old Betsy. And just for the record, do you see? I told you it wouldn't take long for that thing to cross over. And there's a border underneath there, people. So, and there's that famous morning glory. As if I don't have enough of those things in the yard right now. Okay, so I'm working on emptying out that. Okay? You have to remember, the city doesn't take this stuff. It's got a bunch of rocks and dirts in it. Dirt. So anyway, there's a tarp underneath that. And there's another tarp. That right there is that seaweed that I found last week. You can see that, so I'm going to rip it up. And I'm going to put layers of food scraps, a couple pieces of newspaper, sprinkle some of that seaweed in there after I rip it up into pieces. Throw some of that, that's the pine needles and everything, over top of that. Just kind of move it around with my hands. And then put a layer of that right across. And then I'm going to put the next layer on top of it. And I'm going to do it again. So I'll use half of that now, or a third. I'll use a third and a third and a third. Because that should be enough. And then you wrap it up real tight. And then I'm going to put another tarp over it. Because you want to smother it and you want to get it in the dark. Best to have it blaring in the sun. You're not going to get much sun in here except for a little bit in the morning. But it doesn't matter because I've already had one of these. It was a mountain up by my first compost box. And as you can see, I've got food growing in there now. So this does work, people. And it produces rich dirt as long as you add in this kind of stuff, right? It can't be just this kind of stuff because it creates a certain kind of dirt that isn't necessarily the kind of dirt that you want. You need something with more fiber and that kind, so you need to add that in there. And the seaweed and those other little things. Okay, people, so I'm pretty mad right now because I have been working like extremely hard over the years. Like there's like 10 compost boxes on this property just to deal with stuff like that. Right? And I've like been working really, really hard over the years to make good dirt. And now that some of these compost boxes are starting to produce good dirt, it's being taken away from me. Nobody came and went and got those things. Nobody cares about that stuff. Very few anyway. But when they open this up, if they know what to do with it, they'll have good dirt for their plants. That it's just bullshit, people. Total fucking bullshit. Okay, people, while I'm doing this, I'm thinking, how do we know it's not, well, I wouldn't say it's my landlords, but maybe there's somebody connected to them. I mean, definitely the Duncan clan. Okay, we know they've been stalking my channel for a long time, right? Ever since they took John, right? But how do we know that my landlords don't have something to do with this gang stalking on YouTube and, and threats and all this other stuff? Because, and just intimidation and ongoing harassment to the point where I have to take comments away from videos at this point because I can't fucking deal with it because I'm too busy with this stuff, Because, like I said, ever since John's been gone, they just, not so much my landlord as it is my landlady, right? Not to say that my landlord isn't responsible either for, forcing me out of this house, because he could step up to the plate and say something and do something to prevent this from happening. Because these people are taking away my food source. Seriously, I've worked 6 years to be able to be in this position where I can even plant food for my family. Okay? And they're absolutely 100% taking it away from me because they want more rent money. I'm sorry, my daughter's saying that they're cheap, right? And calling them a religion that comes from India doesn't warrant an eviction notice. And nor does it with the city, because the city is harassing people over there. We just seen the city over there in the back over there, right? We know that they harass them. They're harassing me. And they provide no annual spring cleanup for miscellaneous things that could go out in whatever, once a year, like Delta Spring cleanup. Instead, they're using people's yards as an excuse to go in there and start fining them and threatening them, and or to kick out the poor so that the property value can go up because they've overinflated the housing market and they're bringing in criminals to buy up these houses, basically, right? They're bringing in criminals, people. There's no checks and balances in British Columbia, Canada, when it prevents the house sales to be out of the roof without any accountability. And again, they're creating a new wave of refugees. So when I leave this house, I will be putting in an application through the Canadian consulate as a refugee in my own fucking country. Do you see what's going to happen here with that? Every now and then they cross into my yard and they step on things and they do what they want. Like, really, who's the victim here? You work all these years to actually be able to plant food so you can live, right? And not starve, eh? And try and dig yourself out of a hole, right? And then, can you see what I did there, people? I took a board just to give it a little bit of stability, and then you're going to wrap it all up, make it real tight, right? The less it can breathe, the better off it is. And then I'm going to go to the other side of the house and look for some, what is that called? Camouflage tarp or something green to cover over that. Tuck it in and make it all tight, right? So the less that the sun can get in there and the less the air can get in there, the better off it is. And then hopefully that will just start to turn into really, really, really nice dirt, right? So in the meantime, I had to pay somebody to come in here and dig up all these weeds. This is all it was, people. Do you see that? It cost me like $80 and some beer and some food for 2 guys to come in here and get that ground ready for me. And now that it's ready and things are growing already, and I have to put the potatoes in, I have to do something in here, otherwise it's just going to go back to that, right? And if I leave it like this, they'll just say I left it as a mess. So it's like fucking stupid. I have to go to Landlords and Tenancy Act branch, people. Okay, so you can see what I've done. So now I'll just start moving this stuff, moving that stuff, get another tarp it over. Because when you wash the porch, the water comes, but that's okay. Just tarp it over, put some rocks and stuff on top so it doesn't blow around in the wind, and make it as tight as you can, and then just leave it. And then in a few months from now, open it up, move things around, take out any morning glory roots. You know, it's got that stubborn plant in there, so it's going to take a while, right? So I've done this in here. My neighbor just came by and told me that in order to dispute this through the Landlords and Tenancy Act branch, I technically only had 10 days. Today is what, the 17th of April, people? Like, my head is still reeling from this. That day when my landlady's daughter was here with Sook, she told me she's spoken to some of the neighbors, and they have confirmed that I'm outside like all the time. Sometimes even up to 12 hours in a day, from 10 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. Okay, in the summertime, easy. Lately I've been doing, since Sook started January, in December, people, I was working on that in the rain in December. In November, I was working on that patch where that invasive weed was, and I just emptied it and put it in there. I did that in November. Sook showed up in January. Okay? Like, it wasn't even a month after I came inside and I started working on nonprofit books. And I went out there the day he showed up, people. And I've been working almost every day since. Anywhere from 4 hours to 8 to 10 hours a day. Okay? So I don't even know why I got this eviction notice. Like, honest to God, I don't fucking get it. Other than these people want more money. Okay? Because I'm not putting their house at risk with the city. All right? This is a slide. This is what is it called? Teeter-totter, right? Obviously using wood. We already went through the bricks. I mean, who in their right man has 10 fucking compost boxes on the property because that's how many weeds there is? But besides the point, people. Besides the point, okay? So I'm going to have to set up a little bug-out bag, right? Just in case I get locked out of my house. Like, seriously, just in case I get locked out of my house. Because there is no rhyme and reason to this. There is absolutely none. Other than fucking greed is fueling this shit. Because I have been faithful. I've been working hard for 6 fucking years, right? And with all this trolling going on ever since John's been taken, right? And I'm being forced out of my house the way I'm being forced out of my house. Okay, and it looks like I maybe even missed the Landlords and Tenancy Act branch in terms of you got 10 days to dispute the eviction notice. It's January 17th, so I don't know. Like, seriously, people, like, I don't fucking know. I don't get it. So anyway, I'm just gonna plant some potatoes. This is the food that's being taken away from my family and myself, okay? Right, I don't know what else to do. These things, there's no point in them sitting there in a bucket and just rotting. And like I said, I have more in my potato shed that I made with my son. Okay? And just a little check. You can see there's still stuff along their walls, right? You know what I mean? Look at this. Do you see that? Do you see that, people? It's over there, too. Do you see? Like, it's bullshit, man. I'm clearing out. Right? There's my strawberries getting destroyed. Okay, so the backyard got like this all by itself. Right? It did it all by itself, people. I had nothing to do with this. Absolutely nothing. Okay, so one of the video clips, I don't know, I somehow disconnected everything. But as you can see, right there, there's 26 mounds of potatoes buried into the ground. Okay? And then over the next few days, I'm just gonna come out here and you're gonna see all this gone. Pretty much, I'm just gonna start moving it from over there to the back. And here's the X Club. The door's been opened. The toys are still on the porch. Okay. That raccoon, I don't know. It's scary. Because you never know if it's going to charge. You can see things have moved again. Because it's crawling in and out. As a matter of fact, you can see its little paw prints. So I can't get anything from here. Absolutely nothing. I'm too afraid. Because she's made herself a path where if I step in and disturb her too much, she can come out charging. And they're not like cats, people. They're very, 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 very vicious. Right? So this whole situation in here, and I don't know, something seems to be moving around in there, because if you can see, something fell. So what's going inside? Look at that. Can you see that? For all I know, there could be another freaking raccoon in there. Like, seriously. Like, this is ridiculous. I can't even get those down. But we're working on the pet program, so let's just focus on that.